No, you're talking to a big Klay Thompson fan. I'm the one who defends him on the show against John. John's a big John doesn't really like Klay Thompson that
I
much.
think he's a little bit overrated in a sense. I do think he's a bit overrated, but at the same time, that's what winning does for you. And he's come up in big moments, so I can't even be too mad at it.
I wouldn't say overrated. I just he's done his job to literally the highest possible ability he could.
Let's not go there. I
I think
compare
he's been underrated. I give him underrated because I think he's been disrespected his entire career.
people want to talk about Harrison Barnes in 2016. Look at a couple of those games from Clay. Trust me, you'll be there's somebody else to be mad at for throwing that series too. Because even though Steph was injured, I'm talking the only person that I think was playing well in that was Draymond. The only person that was playing well was Draymond.
In that finals you're talking about, right?
Yeah, there's
The 3-1 one?
trust me. There's a couple
No,
situations
yeah.
you can point to Clay not performing to the level he's supposed to.
But and me and John even had this debate just like I think a week ago. So I mean, but you gotta listen, yes, Clay didn't perform the way he was supposed to, but I blame that more on a Steph Curry and put that more on his shoulders. You're the focal point of the team. The team really runs through you and Clay. So yeah, like Romain was saying about Clay Thompson not really showing up in that NBA Finals performance, and basically everybody on the team not really showing up except for Draymond, like you said. But for me, it was like I look at more Steph Curry to blame for that because he is the focal point of the team. The team runs through him and Clay, but scoring wise, I mean, obviously Draymond's a huge important piece in that puzzle, but scoring wise, it runs through those guys. They're the Splash Brothers. But it's more Steph Curry, obviously, because we look at him and he's Golden State. He is the Warriors, and we've seen a lot through Steph Curry's career, especially when he broke through. Won the MVP, won the finals, and stuff like that. Since then, we've seen a lot, and a lot of fans are endeared by this. This is why they like Steph Curry because he's a smaller guy and he talks his trash. You know what I mean? He's very cocky.
He's
He
petty
believes
too.
in himself, and you got to believe in yourself. You know what I mean? To be one of the best in the world, to be the best in the world, you got to believe it because screw all the haters. But we've seen at times he gets a little lackadaisical, a little overconfident. He starts trying a little too much. I mean, the perfect example in the
That
waning minutes of the
that
game
dumbass
7
behind the
in
back
Oracle
pass.
and the behind the back pass that's not Clay's fault. Clay's standing right
You know what
there.
the
And
worst
John told me that
you know the
he
worst
was
thing
getting a
is?
lot of double teams that game.
You know,
And I told him, well, in that moment, was he double teamed on that play? Because there was just one guy in front of him and he just threw it behind his back for no reason
I
in the
give
in
Steph
the
one thing.
waning minutes.
I give Steph one thing. Clay was only open for a second, right? If he took the time to actually catch that ball and throw a regular chest pass, that probably wouldn't have gotten to Clay in time. But at the same time, a behind the back pass on the
He
baseline
doubled
is
him.
a dumbass move,
in
especially in a
in
game seven.
especially in that moment, in the moment, like in the final minutes of a close game 7. Don't do that. You got to play fundamental
Yeah, at
basketball.
that point, I would just trust Clay. But another thing with Clay that I don't like, I'm gonna be fair here. K's the OD is the OG shot chucker. I'm not gonna lie. Like he when KD came in, he let it be known. I'm not gonna be the one to take less shots. So
Yeah, no.
that's the thing about him is like whenever he's on, whenever Clay gets hot, that's the best player in the NBA. Whenever he gets hot,
There's nobody that can get hotter except for maybe Curry. He's the only one who can rival
I
him.
don't even think Curry gets hot. I
KD.
think no, no, no. I think Curry, in a sense, when he gets hot, he get he gets a little so confident, which is in an ability that he takes certain shots
Yeah,
and they go in a lot of times, but they do miss and they kind of kill the
yeah.
momentum a little bit sometimes. But Clay, whenever it's Clay, you're not getting anything crazy from him. He's taking the
No.
same set high percentage shot, and he always finds a way to get open. And whenever he's hot, then he starts taking the contested ones, which is still in his make. It was still in his repertoire, and it's just hard to like really go. The only time I've
I
seen him take an extremely deep three while hot was against the Lakers that one time.
I mean, I nicknamed him Mr. Fundamentals because this guy is not going to beat himself. You're going to have to beat him, and he's like, I mean, you taught the jump shot. It's the
Textbook.
same thing every time. It's textbook. So this guy, I love me some Klay Thompson. I think even when you look at his accolades with like the All NBA teams, the All Defensive teams, the All Star teams, and even getting left off the 75th anniversary team, I think that's all signs point to this guy has been disrespected throughout his entire career. And
I'll give
it's
you
just
that.
like, I mean, if we're gonna say Scottie Pippen is a top 50 player as a Robin to one of the greatest dynasties of all time, if not the greatest, you can't disrespect Klay Thompson and say he's not one of the top 75 players of
But
all
here's
time.
the thing though, Scotty's also as had accomplishments as a number one though. As a
He
number
did.
one,
I give you that.
you win 55 games without you make it to the you
59.
50 yeah, and you almost make it to you always make it to the NBA finals. Literally, it was what one layup away from making the NBA finals. Like a couple bad calls and that shit goes your way and you have Scottie Pippen in the NBA finals without Jordan. I 1000% I don't think you say that about Clay.
Yeah, Scotty was a top 5 player, in my opinion. And if you don't think he was top 5, he was right outside the mix. Because, like you just said, that Blazers team that he was on was so deep and so rounded. But he was at that stage in his career well out of his prime.
Yeah,
He was 34 years old.
Yeah, Jordan.
And
Jordan was what? I understand why people want to probably, but like, there's a reason why that duo was so successful for so long. Scotty had to be another top 10 player. It's like putting LeBron and if 80 was as durable as Scotty was, it's like putting LeBron and 80 together since 2013. That's
Yeah,
broken, bro. Like,
yeah.
it's really hard. It's hard as hell to look at that duo and look at what Scotty's able to do alone and with Jordan and not realize that Jordan also had a top 10 player in the league on his team at the same time.
I'll keep it a buck with you. I feel like Scotty was like a prehistoric Kawhi.
No,
So
that's
I
not a
know we
bad
kind of
take at all. That's a pretty
With
if anything he was a way better passer than Kawhi.
Yeah, I
to
think
I
it.
mean, we kind of like lit off into a little bit of tangent because the original topic was the Lakers. But
Oh my God, yeah.
one thing I do have to say on Clay, because me and John had this debate about James Harden and Clay Thompson, who we rank higher all time, and I have Clay Thompson ranked higher because of the shortcomings of James
That's
Harden.
crazy.
Over, you could call me crazy, but I'll
That's
point to all
crazy.
these failed moments for James Harden, and then who's the crazy one? But one thing that when I was looking it up after we talked about it, John, is all these disappearing acts. And one thing that fell through my mind that I forgot in 2016 in the first round when it was Houston versus Golden State, Steph Curry was out three of the 5 games, and Klay Thompson outperformed James Harden offensively, and he was guarding him most of that series defensively and making him struggle.
Wait, what
So
series?
this was 2016 in the first round.
Where they won in 5
2006.
games.
Was that the same team
So
that
Steph
was that
missed
still the
3 games.
was that the team that
So
still had Dwight?
Yes, that was the trash team where they had Michael Beasley coming off the bench with.
I'm not
Is
gonna
this
take anything away
Demontis
from Clay. I'm not
Montezunas?
gonna take anything away from Clay, but that Golden State team beating that Rockets team, I'm not gonna put a lot of stock in it.